If a disaster strikes in the Seattle area, how prepared are our communities to handle it? Thoughtful Seattle citizens have been working together since 2006 in a grassroots effort to organize emergency communication hubs where trained volunteers gather in their neighborhoods. These hubs serve as locations where volunteers can collect and provide information on local situations, needs, and resources, and assist in the coordination of local available resources provided by residents, businesses, and organizations. At some locations, volunteers relay information between hub sites and to and from the City of Seattle's Emergency Operations Center.
We know that a key element in the city's response in the events of a disaster is going to be the fire and police personnel on the ground. This video is intended to make you familiar with another important community-based resource in Seattle. If you're familiar with the Seattle Emergency Communication Hubs, then we can all work together to help our communities respond and recover. As of 2014, we have 52 hubs in Seattle, and that number continues to change as we add new hubs or sometimes we consolidate down. And if you want to find out where the hubs are, which one's closest to you, the most current map is always posted on our website, which is seattlehubs.org. So this is our website, and we have the list of all the communities that have their own website, as well as two different things at the bottom. One will be where you can click on to contact us if you don't see a hub near your area and you want to find out how to start one or what the other closest one would be. And down at the bottom is the link to the map, and that will give you a PDF which will show you where all the current hubs are. We don't actively recruit for people, but if you contact us, we will give you all the materials, we'll do the training, and we mentor you until you're up and on your own feet. About the history of the hubs is that in such a big city, it was kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, because we were over in West Seattle and we were isolated, and our police precinct was concerned about how neighbors connected with their communities in a disaster to help each other. So we started off trying to think of, how could we make that happen? And at the same time, the two of you were doing something else. You were in Queen Anne Magnolia Inner Bay.
And the district council there was interested in promoting a disaster response plan after conversations they've had with people from Office of Emergency Management. And how do you do that across three neighborhoods that have very, very different topography and are also on a key route through the city, the Ship Canal.
So you were working on more the planning aspect.
Working on the planning aspect, yeah, just how do you actually structure something and design something that you can take to the community and have them help you implement it.
Right. And you in Wallingford?
Well, in Wallingford, this was back in 2008, 2009, this was all happening. I was on the community council, we were working the community council, the senior center, and Sustainable Wallingford. We're trying to find ways to bring the community connection together and then identifying vulnerable populations in the community.
Right. So the city, yeah, connected all three of us, and we're looking over there going, we hadn't even thought about vulnerable populations and sustainability, that's a big movement to draw from, and having a plan.
And the new thing I think that all three of us were looking at in separately, and we finally articulated, was this fits in a disaster response plan above the Seattle Neighbors Actively Prepare, the OEM program they've had for years. They go out, which is more, say, 35 to 40 homes in a certain neighborhood. This was to include that, but it wasn't that. It was very different.
And so that's what West Seattle focused on, was how do you put a place a community can come to help each other and not raise it above just that level. Right. And then the first person that they hooked us up with was from Capitol Hill, because they have a very different situation than I had in West Seattle. They have very dense, high-rise vertical buildings that they're trying to figure out how to encourage those people to prepare for too. So it was the knitting together of all those and then starting to share and having outreach and doing summits and training people, and so that's how the hubs have slowly grown to the 52 they are today.
In order to practice and refine procedures for dealing with community needs at a time of disaster, the emergency communication hubs hold regular drills that relate to various types of disasters that could occur here in the Northwest. For example, On May 17, 2014, about 150 volunteers gathered at 12 sites around the city to rehearse how they would deal with ashfall and a lahar from a Mount Rainier eruption. By coincidence, the drill took place almost 24 years to the date from the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Prior to the May 17th drill, Hub volunteers met to work out details and share ideas about the forms that would be used on the day of the drill.
Practice and improve, we had our 3 goals, which were really around our communications of how we handle the form, how we do the handoff between the messaging taker and the greeter, and the clarity, can you read it? Can you get it from on the telephone game all the way down the tree, right? Any questions or concerns about that?
Input from volunteers is used to refine procedures.
But there was confusion with message taker and info organizer.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of
Brand new
hands-on,
form, I just introduced it to you, so
but a
yeah.
lot of handoffs.
We were able to do it.
Okay, or with difficulty?
No.
Okay. Help you, but who, what, where, when. Not how, not why. You're trying to get information so the city can figure out how to respond. Every situation's going to be different. So think about what it is you want to achieve to respond to what has been presented to you.
The day of the drill is the time when volunteers can finally test their ability to work together as a team and be resourceful in dealing with situations as they arise.
And all of these different roles, from greeter, message taker, message manager, radio operator, are going to be handled by us. I'm going to be the radio operator. So I've got this cool GMRS radio, and I'll be relaying messages that get brought in from the community to a ham radio operator over in Magnolia, and then that gets communicated up to the city.
Community members are encouraged to participate in the drill by dropping in and presenting volunteers with possible scenarios and challenges. Information about local needs and resources is posted on the message board, where community members can refer to it easily. Hub sites may have resources available to meet community needs immediately. High priority information is relayed by trained radio volunteers to appropriate recipients. Auxiliary Communications Service volunteers maintain a site on the day of the drill and play a key role in making sure information is relayed in the manner that is most useful to the agencies that need it. At the end of the drill, volunteers gather to evaluate their performance and talk about ways to improve it in the future.
This is the first time that we had participated or organized a exercise for our Rainier Beach Emergency Hub. I thought it went very well. It gave us an opportunity to get to know each other better. It was like forming a team for the first time. There was a lot of participation by the community.
When I was doing the message board, I think the important thing that I was able to learn where the different areas that needed assistance, and that message board was the way of communicating to the group that these are the areas that need to be looked at and a resource need to be directed to.
I think the most important thing that neighbors took away is that we actually existed. A lot of people do not know what an emergency communication hub is. A lot of people in our neighborhood they've heard about this communication hub, but really didn't know what it was until we actually set up in front of the church on a main arterial and people could see us.
The Lake City Hub experienced its first drill this May. One of the things about this drill that we learned was the scenarios and what really we needed to handle on the local level and what needed to go forward to the city. It became much clearer as we were there that there wasn't going to be any help from the fire department or the police department for everyday occurrences that they would normally be there for, that we were really on our own and we had to take care of each other.
The hubs are a really important part of emergency preparedness in Seattle. We activate in the most serious of emergency conditions when everything is down and the city is trying to get an assessment and response going for the situation. Our ability to coordinate information, needs, and resources during those first critical hours and days is what will make our neighborhoods more resilient to get through the disaster. And everyone can contribute. The hubs just make it all happen.